Hello, and welcome to the Sweet Southern Sports Podcast, where we talk about SEC sports, which is the best conference. Today, we will be focusing on the Georgia Bulldogs 2025 football season predictions. First, we're going to start off with just some of the basic keys to having a strong season. So first, Stockton who's at quarterback now. Carson Beck is now out, went over to Miami. I think Stockton really helps give them a running option from the quarterback position that can be really helpful on extending drives, but it's going to be really key that he's a game manager and that he doesn't really hurt the team with dumb turnovers. I think that's going to be Stockton's big thing this year. Another thing is hoping that the defense keeps that Georgia high level of production. So defense has been really good for Georgia in these past few seasons, actually really through a lot of the Kirby Smart era. And it's really important that they keep that high level of defense this year because I don't think the offense is going to be extremely good, but I think they'll be relatively middle of the road for the top level of college football. Getting the ball to Branch. So they have a transfer, Zachariah Branch from USC. This kid can fly. He's super fast, super speedy. He gives a very college version of Tyreek Hill types of vibes. I think it's really important that they get him the ball a lot just to really help shorten some drives. So instead of having to do long drives, going first down, first down, first down, just going all the way through, it'd be really nice to just get one big shot and get down at the end of the field to score some points. So I think that would be a really big thing with the Georgia Bulldogs season. So let's get into the schedule. So first off, they start with opening at versus Marshall and versus Austin Peay. So pretty easy opening games that I think they'll win both of those. And then they have a tough game at Tennessee. So when it comes to at Tennessee, the defense tends to be extremely good at Tennessee. But I think Georgia will handle them pretty good. The last two visits that they've had to Tennessee have gone well. In 23, they won 38 to 10, and then in 21, they won 41 to 17. So typically, when Georgia has recently headed into Tennessee, it hasn't been an issue. I think that will continue this year. Then they have a much needed bye week before they play Alabama. Everyone's been sharing that Alabama has Georgia's number. It really does seem to be the team that Kirby Smart really struggles against and just cannot seem to win over. But I do believe that this year Georgia gets the job done. Alabama returns an extremely good defense. Their offense should be pretty explosive. They have Ryan Williams, a lot of other weapons on the outside, a good running back. But I think overall, Georgia being at home, I think people are going to recognize Sanford Stadium for its extremely loud and chaotic environment will really help push Georgia over the edge in a close one against Alabama. Then they face against Kentucky. I think that will be a quick one. I think Kentucky gets the win easily here. Then they have at Auburn. So you'll see this is the first loss that I put on the Georgia Bulldogs this year. At Auburn's just a really weird place to play. They've had the kick six. They've had the Hail Mary against Georgia. There's just really crazy stuff that happens at Auburn. I think this year they have a really good wide receiving core. And then also Jackson Arnold, who did not had a tough year at Oklahoma last year, but I think could have a good year this year if he can just take care of the football. I think this will be one of those chaotic last second heroics that we see typically at Auburn. I think Auburn stuns Georgia and Jordan here. All right, next one is against Ole Miss. So we have Lane Kiffin coming to town for the Georgia Bulldogs. I think Lane Kiffin will have some tricks up his sleeve as he usually does. They did beat them last year. I think Georgia will be really focused on ensuring that doesn't happen again. So I take Georgia in this one. Then they go into a much-needed bye week before the Florida Gators. So last year, the Florida Gators had Georgia against the ropes. DJ Lagaway went down. I feel like all the momentum of the game when DJ Lagaway was in at quarterback for Florida, it was looking like Florida would probably end up with a victory at the end of the day, but he went down and then Georgia took control. I think this year, if DJ Lagaway is healthy, I still think it comes down to the wire. I'm still going to pick Georgia here. I just think that Florida, especially with their schedule as well, will be a little bit more worn down than even Georgia is at this point in the season. I think Georgia will be able to control the football for the second half, and we'll take this one. Then they have at Mississippi State. At Mississippi State will be nothing. Georgia should go in there and run up the score pretty good. Then they have versus Texas. So this one will be one of those college game day atmospheres for sure. I think Georgia will be ready for Texas the same way that Alabama has seemed to have Georgia's number. People are saying that maybe Georgia has Texas's number pretty good when it comes to that. I do believe that even after the 22-19 overtime loss in the SEC championship last year, that Georgia gets the job done again and will handle Texas. And I think put Manning in some tough situations again, being in that crazy environment. I think it's close, but I think Georgia pulls away late in the fourth quarter. Then they have Charlotte, which would be like a bye week. They should steamroll them. A lot of backups in there. That's also senior day, so it'll be the last time for some Bulldogs to be playing at Sanford Stadium. And then the next week they play in Atlanta against Georgia Tech. This will not be at Georgia Tech, but this game will be, which is kind of weird because they usually do away or home aways very typically with this. But Georgia Tech brings a really, really good football team this year. They have a great quarterback, great running back. Really, when it comes to it, they are just physical and they're very experienced when it comes to them as a football team. I think Georgia Tech's going to give Georgia some fits in the first half, but then Georgia will figure it out with some adjustments and then handle them in the second half. So overall, after looking over the whole season, I do see them going 11-1, which is a really, really good season. Definitely a CFP spot. 7-1 in conference, which should be good enough to go to the SEC championship. Their best case scenario is going 12-0. I think they can really handle the whole schedule. Every game is winnable for this team, and they'll be favored in a lot of them. And then the worst case scenario would be 8-4, and this would really just be if that offense really sputters and Stockton struggles to take care of the ball and keep the offense moving. They do play some explosive offenses this year, so that would be the struggle: is can they put up enough points even with that Georgia defense holding opponents most likely under 20 points for most of the year. All right, so with all that said, that's the Georgia Bulldogs 2025 preseason predictions. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in our next video.